Sophie Cunningham casts dismal forecast for 2026 WNBA season. It doesn't seem like much movement has been made. Not everyone is sure that the WNBA will play at all in 2026. At least, that's what Sophie Cunningham told Front Office Sports in an interview published November 14. In addition to the ongoing CBA negotiations, Cunningham addressed a few key topics, including her future with the Indiana Fever and the rumors surrounding Project B. Cunningham made it clear that when it comes to CBA negotiations, things are not progressing at a pace that seems particularly helpful or even appropriate. She noted that her understanding is the last time the WNBA and the leaders of the WNBA met was 2 weeks ago, and said, "I know our execs are talking with their people every single day. I don't think there's been much movement. I think at least there's communication. So that's the biggest thing for us. But normally we don't have meetings unless something big is happening or if they need to update us on what they're talking about." Sophie Cunningham addressed her future with the Fever. Cunningham also admitted that there is a lot of uncertainty when it comes to the WNBA's 2026 season, which makes it more difficult to know if she can plan to be on the Indiana Fever next year. Like most of the league, Cunningham will be a free agent, and her spot on the team isn't guaranteed. There is a lot of uncertainty, like you said, with the CBA, with the money, if we're even going to have a league next year, she said. And then people want to come back, we're trying to keep our core together. The Fever battled through several season-ending injuries, including Cunningham's own, and put in a strong performance during the WNBA playoffs this season. If the team can retain its core, they could end up doing the same next season, or achieving even more. Sophie Cunningham doesn't see a problem with Project B. Cunningham also spoke about Project B, the latest professional women's basketball league that's been announced. Not too many details are available yet about the league, but it was hashed out by a group of investors who initially hoped to create a rival to the NBA. When that didn't work, they turned their attention to the W and women's basketball. For Cunningham, the appeal of the new league is financial. Project B is reportedly offering some players $2 to $3 million salaries to participate in the league from November-April 2026. "I don't know too much about it," Cunningham admitted. "You know, you see stuff on social media, but I also know how social media goes. So you got to take it with a grain of salt. But, you know, if people are going to be paying you multi-million-dollar deals, why would you not?" Junior guard could be the key to South Carolina's success for one simple reason. One opponent challenges Aya Wilson more than anyone else in the WNBA. One reason for the Aces' success is easily replicated, according to Aya Wilson. Aya Wilson shuts down common CBA misconception people should have let go of long ago. Sophie Cunningham stood at the edge of the court like someone who'd read the weather for a city she loved and found the forecast unbearably stubborn, cloudy with a chance of thunder, and a wind that smelled faintly of change. She tapped the lip of a basketball with the calm of someone measuring time in rotations and then, half in jest and half as prophecy, told reporters she saw something strange on the horizon, a dismal forecast for the 2026 WNBA season. It wasn't doom in the apocalyptic sense. It was more like watching your favorite film stall on buffering, frustrating, familiar, and full of small, avoidable tragedies. Sophie's voice held the dry humor she'd always had, the kind that made teammates laugh until they cried, but underneath it there was clarity. She painted scenes with the clinical precision of a savvy player and the theatrical flourish of someone who knows how stories stick. "Expect grit," she said, leaning forward. "Expect late-game heartbreaks, buzzer beaters that sting in the chest and feel like unpaid rent, and a whole lot of teams asking themselves what could have been." The room leaned in. In Sophie's forecast, parity ruled the season, every team capable of beating every other, and no one convinced they would. The standings would be a seesaw. Coaches would swap plays like trading cards. Fans would fuel social media into perpetual overtime. It would be glorious and exhausting. Her dismal forecast, though, wasn't only about outcomes. It was an observation about rhythm, how the league's heartbeat was skipping beats. Injuries, invisible household names of the game, would rear up like weeds in perfectly watered gardens. Chemistry, that fragile perfume between players, would evaporate in training camps where rookies tried too hard and veterans tried to do everything. Sophisticated offenses would misread defenses, and defensive stances would crack under pressure. We'll see brilliance, Sophie assured, but we'll see inconsistency as well. Sometimes brilliance and inconsistency are roommates. The city lights of Sophie's imagery flickered to off-court concerns. Contracts and cap space were characters in her tale. She described trades that felt like love affairs gone wrong, promising at first, then revealed as mismatched when the lights came up. There'd be mid-season pivots that surprised pundits and players who grew incandescent under scrutiny, only to cool off like embers left too long in the rain. Expect a lot of headlines, she said. Some deserved. Some manufactured. All loud. Fans took to the forecast like it was an invitation. Social feeds ignited with memes of gray clouds over jerseys and captions quoting Sophie's gentle grimace. Yet within the buzzing, there was a countercurrent of excitement. There will be pharmacy-cool nights where a rookie would score 30 with a calm most pros chase for a lifetime. There would be veterans, a nod, a pull-up, reminding everyone why they matter. Sophie's forecast didn't eliminate star power. It simply predicted the stars would collide, not align. Teammates asked her privately if she was being serious. Sophie shrugged. A forecast is just a map of possible futures. The key is what you pack for the trip. Her own reply hinted at strategy, adaptability, stamina, and an appetite for playing in the messy middle. She spoke of fundamentals that survive chaos, communication in huddles, the kind that isn't rehearsed but feels like the best kind of instinct, relentless defense that becomes identity, and locker rooms that become resilient microclimates, resisting the weather outside. There was poetry in the way she framed the dismal part of the forecast. Dismal didn't mean devoid of beauty. Instead, Sophie suggested the season would be textured, shades of sorrow and flashes of joy stitched together like a quilt made in motion. Upsets would feel like revelations, losses would be lessons tattooed in memory. For purists, it might be dissonant. For storytellers, commentators, die-hard fans, old-timers who could recite box scores like prayers, it would be manna. Sophie, are you predicting chaos or opportunity? Someone asked. She smiled, the kind that rearranged the room's expectation. Both, she answered. Chaos opens windows. Opportunity walks through them. That's the part people miss. In her view, risk would be the currency. Teams that traded predictability for brave, sometimes reckless, adjustments would either collapse or astonish. The league's narrative was not a single thread but a braided rope. Pull one strand and the whole story might tighten or fray.